My name is Bobby G. I'm from Foster, Rhode Island. My wife, it's coming up on our anniversary. At the time, while she was still alive, we were married 43 years. What a beautiful marriage we had, Judy and I, through the years, her as a full-time nurse, myself as a pizza restaurant operator, 7 days a week, pedal to the metal. My wife was contracted with leukemia, and, for 15 years, we battled. I stopped work so I could care for her. My wife took her to procedures 3 times a week and ended up being in the house. She was bedridden for the last 8 years of her life. And so during that process, before she was bedridden, we ended up having a problem with a water loss problem in the house. I happened to be at work, and we got this huge storm that came about. And I had come home, and I looked, and there was standing water all in the room. And that water obviously filtered down through the plywood into that crawl space, creating, which I didn't know at the time, the perfect storm for mold. I didn't know anything about the mold. I didn't know anything. I said, I can't do this. I have to call the insurance company. They came in, they assessed the thing, they sent a triage company out to try and button up things so there wouldn't be a continuation of this problem. And which they did. It was kind of like shoddy. It was just like a Band-Aid they put on it. And they said, "Don't worry, Mr. Gravel, we'll have it all taken care of. We'll fix it all up for you. You don't have to worry about a thing." I said, "Okay." So they sent in a remediation company to come in and take care of this. And weeks were going by, and nothing was really happening with that process. And all of a sudden, my wife came down. She had a compromised immune system because of leukemia. She developed bronchitis in the middle of July. So I called the insurance company. They said, "We're going to have to send a team out." They sent a team out from the health department. Within 10 minutes, she starts jumping up and down in the room and saying, "Oh, you got to get out of this house. I can't believe you're in this house." And I, "What's the problem?" She said, "Well, you got to get out. This is uninhabitable." And I said, "Man, we've been in here now for a couple of months." She told me that, we're going to have to condemn the house. You can't come in here. So I was totally blown away. I said, "I can't handle this anymore. I need help. I need help here." And so I call up Daley and Orton, and I schedule a meeting. I go there. I introduce myself to Kevin. And I tell him the story. And he said, "Bobby, I need to come out and check out your situation," in which he did. And right from that moment, I realized there's something different going on here. He not only wanted to know about the problem we were having, he wanted to know about my wife and myself. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to get a camper and live on the property. I don't know what to do. He was taking it all in. And from that moment, he introduced to me, he brought a sense of calm in the middle of this storm. And he checked on us every single day. He'd call up, "How is Judy doing today? How are you doing today, Bob?" And he'd come up on his own time. When I met Kevin, I realized one thing. This man is a man of his word. No matter what he said to me, I'll call you tomorrow. He called me tomorrow. "Bobby, I'll take care of this for you." He took care of it. That sense of comfort that one receives when you're in a storm in life and you have something that's so traumatic coming down. I have my wife's life right there in front of me that's dwindling. In the twilight of her life, she's going through this. Am I going to lose her in this little camper? She really loved Kevin. Kevin just embraced my wife. And oh boy, that took so much pressure off me because my wife felt so good about Kevin and his team. It wasn't just Kevin. It's all about team. I've always said we're only as good as the people we surround ourselves with. I look at Kevin and I say, I'm saying, wow, he's going up against this conglomerate insurance company, worldwide known. And I looked at him and I said, boy, he is the David in the Goliath story. I would take walks in the back of the property and just have a moment to myself and just let it out, let my emotions out. And I didn't want to appear weak to my wife. And I'd cry and just, Lord, give me the strength to endure this. Kevin took a personal touch to this whole case, beyond and beyond what a case is. A case is a case. I wasn't just number case 52. I was Bobby G and his wife Judy. I was real people suffering real life consequences. And he took me in like I was family. I'm not going to let this happen to my brother Bobby. And we're not going to let this happen to him. We're going to make this right. And we're going to hold these people accountable for what they're doing to them. And it's an awful feeling knowing that there's people out there that will do that to you. But there are. And what it does is it makes you realize at that point and juncture, that's when you need to surround yourself with true professionals who actually care. And all I wanted was to get Judy in for the final episode of her life, to be able to experience just being able to eat at dinner, being able to lay in bed and hold each other's hand, being able to sit at the dining room table and just hold each other's hand and be grateful for what we had. And I looked at my wife and I said, here it is, honey. And I could see her face. Her mouth was open and there was tears flowing down her cheek. And that moment in time was more than any material aspect can ever bring. It was a sense of peace. We brought her, Kevin, his team, and myself, I carried her over that threshold and brought her in and sat her down on a nice recliner right next to mine. And she sat down in that recliner and she's just looking around, left to right, like this. And she went out loud, she went, oh, can you feel this, Bobby? This house has got love written all over it. And I said, that's because, Judy, love conquers all. And we did it. We did it, honey. If it wasn't for Kevin, we could have never done this. These people would have eaten us alive. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. You know, the last few years being with my wife were the pinnacle of our relationship. And it was a beautiful thing. And I use these testimonies for my daughter, both my girls, so they can see what life's all about. It's not about the material aspects one attains through work. It's the bond we have with our family, our friends, and even a perfect stranger. And all I can say from the bottom of my heart is because I'm sharing this testimony with you all, because I could talk till the cows come home, but I want to just say that I realize that the truth of the matter is I surrounded myself with the best team I could ever possibly imagine. And Kevin Daley and his team I would look at anybody and I would say, you want to take your anxieties and your not knowing what to do, you want to take that off your shoulder? Let me introduce you to Kevin Daley. Let me introduce you to him. Let him just talk to you. And the proof is in the pudding. That's what I'd have to say.